All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, America's #1 dispatcher and freight broker training. How's everyone doing? Office. Last night was an interesting broker training. Some of you were there, some of you were not. Most of you were not, but some of you were. Very intriguing, very inquisitive. But anyway, let's get some Q&A going, see what's going on with that. I got a carrier coming in, Daniel Cruz, if he's not already here. Daniel, are you here? Unmute yourself if you are. He has he needs help with his
DC service. Hey everybody. Hey Charles.
uh
Is that maybe DC service right there?
I don't think it's DC service. It might be. Daniel Cruz, is that you, DC service? Unmute yourself if that's you. But he has a box truck. And
nope, that's not him.
That's not him. Not me. Innocent. So I'm putting up some other load board options on my screen here. I'm going to be sharing this. Amazon freight.amazon.com/shippers, Convoy. One's called Ships, one's called Uber Freight. So to kind of give you guys some other options with load boards in addition to what we already have. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Convoy. You can probably, if you get a carrier, you can enter the MC and create an account with Convoy to get directly onboarded with them. This one you may not have heard of, but you can start it for free. It's called Ships, SHIPZ. You can book, track, and manage your shipments. It's the marketplace that connects shippers with a growing network of service providers. Now, service providers may be brokers, but if you were to connect with them, you may be able to connect with them on the trucking side for your carrier. So that will be the only question that you would have for them. Because I didn't get a chance to actually call and talk to them. So let's see, start for free, and then we'll see what kind of questions you ask. Okay. The page aired out on me, but we'll go back. Right. Oh, I see. It doesn't accept any requests right now. So anyway, and then the third one is Uber Freight. I'm sure you've heard of Uber Freight. Probably can do that for your carriers. The other one I was going to put in is the one with Amazon. And I'm going to send you guys links to these so you can play with them. What is it? Freight. Amazon.com/shippers. Take that site, right? And then if you have an Amazon account like Amazon Freight, you can log in with your regular Amazon account if you have one. If not, you just create one if you're new to Amazon, and then it gets you to that point. So what I'll do is for the Amazon one, I will put that in here for you guys to have. It's a large one. Uber Freight, just other alternatives for load board access. This one Ships, it's timed out as far as having people sign up, but I will double check with them on, let's do this, on Monday to see what's going on with them. But that one as well for you. In the meantime, I'll take questions while I'm giving you guys these links. And then Convoy. Hey, AJ Franklin. There's another one. So there's other load board options now, right? So you can go in there, and so if someone had an MC right now or a DLT for one of their carriers, you can actually go in here and create an account and then see what type of freight that they're offering and see how comparable it is to the main load boards, DAC, 123, and truck stop. That's what you're trying to do as a dispatcher. You want to provide value as much as possible to your guys, to your carriers. Okay. So with that being said, good afternoon again. Questions. I know I get some questions here.
I do have a question.
Yes, Miss Latoya. Are you Latoya Smith?
Yes, I am.
Did you get your certificate?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much. I was
Okay.
trying to figure out with the load boards because the passwords that's on there, it keeps saying that it's the wrong passwords.
Okay, so let's go to the load boards. And did you refresh your browser that you're in?
Yes.
Like, okay, because I've been changing them here and there, but let's see. And Ford is here. So module 2 load boards. Okay. And in this PDF, this is a recording, so I'm not going to open it up. But so you're saying every load board that you try to access didn't work for you.
Yep.
Okay,
I
so
went
let's start with,
through. I didn't
okay,
go
so
through this way. Maybe that was the issue.
that could, would you try to go through your phone or something, or?
No, I typed it in because I went through where you have the password and username, the sheet for the password and username to be able to get in through you.
Okay.
So I just went to Google and typed in the name and tried
Oh,
to enter it.
oh, okay. You didn't go down the main, you took the side street. You didn't go down the main road. So
Okay.
if you'd have
So
come
that's
here,
what
so if you'd have came here, so in each case, if you click the image
uh-huh.
or the link right here, it opens up to another tab in your browser. Like if you click Trucking Planet image, can you guys see the screen? I want to make sure I'm sharing this with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you click the image, it's going to open up.
Okay.
Or if you click the link that says #1 Trucking Planet, it does the same thing. So it goes to it goes to the browser that says truckingplanet.com. If you see in the URL,
Right. Okay.
truckingplanet.com.
Okay, I'll try that. But the
So
question, oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, the question that I was wondering, I know you said for the MC number. So if someone has more than one truck, like they have
Like a fleet of trucks.
okay, yeah, a different kind, yeah. Do they need more than one MC number, or will that one MC number cover all the trucks?
The one MC number covers all the what's called assets for that trucking company. So I may start a trucking company, apply for what's called my operating authority as a motor carrier. I may have 5 trucks or a small fleet, like say 5 to 10. All of those trucks fall up under the authority of that one trucking company with that MC and DOT, because I've listed my assets under that operating authority. Okay.
Okay, and that's the same for the DOT you said too?
Yeah, well, the DOT is free, but the MC is the one you mainly work on.
Okay.
The motor carrier authority is the main one that gives you what's called the operating authority to transport as a motor carrier and to get paid by doing so. Okay.
And that's regardless if you're doing state to state or even staying local.
If you're local, you can just have a DOT number and just run what's called intrastate within your state boundaries. I don't know what state you're out of, but within your state boundaries. But if you want to go over the road and cross state lines and do interstate commerce or interstate transporting, then that's where the MC number comes in at.
Okay.
Right? So you would go to the fmcsa.dot.gov's website and apply, fill out what's called the OP-1 form, which is the actual literal application for an operating authority, either as a freight forwarder, a broker, or a motor carrier.
Okay, that
Okay.
makes sense. I was asking because I do have someone that's interested in doing the loads, um, and just wanted to make sure like what all
So,
they would need
so
if
what
they
do you
have.
what do you mean they're interested in doing the load? You mean as a motor carrier or
Yeah, I'm sorry, as a carrier.
okay?
They wanted that's what they have been interesting is actually driving the trucks and doing the different things. But they wanted to start with the box truck, but then go up and it's like, okay, well, they have to get a new MC if they get another the semi from there, will they have to do that all over again, or how does that go?
Have the same MC, the equipment types is irrelevant. You can put a box truck under your MC, a tractor trailer, sprinter van, cargo van. It don't matter. They're all under one MC. I got a buddy who
Okay.
has five flatbeds, a box truck, and a sprinter van, and a cargo van under his one trucking company,
Okay.
right? And they're all on the same insurance policy and everything that's required to have those assets, because now they're assets. The trucks and or trailers that they have are assets under that authority. So now they're listed on all the paperwork that's required to maintain the assets or maintain the authority, I should say. So,
Okay. All right. That's what I needed to know. Thank you very much. I understand completely.
okay. Someone says, hey, Charles, can you explain how the email and text campaigns work? For example, those new authorities I called but have not received response from a voice message left. I identified their emails through eCarrier check, but they have not subscribed or granted permission to receive information. Then it's on their end, Jesus. But the concept of the email and the text campaigns work like this. You get a list of phone numbers or a list of emails from whatever source you got them from, whether it's eCarrier check, a load board, or wherever you got them from. You subscribe to a particular texting campaign software or email campaigning software, and we got examples of one or several in our portal here. On the texting side, there's one called Text Line and Text Magic. And on the email side, there's one called Constant Contact and MailChimp. Okay, so those are the ones that are used to run campaigns. So you log into your campaign software, whether it's text or email. You create your verbiage, what we call I hate using this word script, but you create the script. Basically, the same words you're going to say to however many people you're going to either email to, or however many people you're going to send a text, what's called an SMS message to, right? You create that, you save that script as a draft or a template. You put it into the software, and then you import either the phone numbers on the text side, or you import the emails on the email side, and then you just hit send, and everybody, all those names, either those phone numbers or those emails that you imported into those softwares, are going to receive that same script at one time, synonymously, all together, instantaneously. That's how those campaigns work. So as a dispatcher, you just need to create the attention-grabbing type of script that will get the person curiosity or inquisitiveness up and want to reply to that. You know, you may say, hey, are you under a load, looking for a load? How much money you need to move your truck, or whatever technique, strategy that you will be using to do that for. So, okay. And that is the process. Okay, I tried with Constant Contact, but stopped because it asks for the date of permission. I'm not sure what the date of permission. I don't know if that's the date that you wanted to generate it, or I'm not sure the use case of Constant Contact, how that works. I've never heard that. Oh, the email contact. Okay. Yeah, so constant contact is one of those in here. So we got text scripts right here, and then or SMS. So that's the text. SMS is the text, which is MailChimp. I'm sorry, which is Text Line or Text Magic. Those are examples of texting campaigns that you can run, text messaging software. This one's on the business side, Text Magic, and then this one's more like personal. And there are others out there. You just want to grab the ones that have
Right.
the some of the features that you.
Let me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna. So I use Constant Contact, and I started putting in the contacts, and then while I was entering them, it flagged and said, "Okay, you have to actually enter the date that these contacts gave you permission to contact them for them to send it out."
Okay, you could have created a date, I guess, at that point. You could have just said, like, next week, like my Monday or something like that you wanted to go out on a Monday, like to begin your week, or a Friday, depending on what time of week you were creating.
No, not to schedule it, but the date that person gave you permission to email them or text.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah, so I just kind of stopped
because they don't give you permission because they don't even know if they're getting an email.
Right. So I was like, well, how do I prove that I can email them if
right? I would if I were you, and keep me informed of this, I would reach out to their support on the software side and ask them to kind of better explain what do you mean by that. They should have a support or a help desk in the software or tutorials. So
Okay.
All right, no problem. All right, who's next? And while we're doing that, I was going to go through the load boards just to make sure everything's good. Oh, let me explain something with the load boards now. Dat load board has introduced a new security feature. It's called MFA. Okay, let me put this in here. MFA, which stands for multi-factor authentication. What it does is when someone first logs into that, it's going to ask to send a code to the phone number associated with the account. So for our DAT, the phone number associated with the account is not the phone number that I use to set up with. But here is the workaround. Let me show you by going to that. I'm gonna fix that with that so it does go to my phone number. And I know I'm gonna have to be sending text messages to people who try to log in. But anyway, so when you first log into that, it's a new feature now. Let's see here. So I automatically log in. So no one went. See, it works for me. When I want to show you the problem goes away. Isn't that crazy? So logs in anyway. Remember that is a one user license. One person can be in at a time. So let me sign out and try it again. But when you first log in, you will get it's supposed to be like a security feature. Of course, it's going to work every time now. And in the training, picture that, right? Picture that with a Minota. So it's working normal. I get calls, 3 or 4 calls a week, like, hey, that's not working. But let me take you to the email of what I'm talking about with that. Let me not this email, but the other email. Well, let me forward it to my other email, my business email, because it's in my regular email, where it introduced a multi-factor authentication. And I got a message from customer support. I'm going to forward it to Exodus and then open up Exodus. Okay. So I'm sending it and I'm doing it in the background. And while I'm doing that, you guys think of your questions, if you don't mind. Try that again. Exodus.
I said few. Did you say today's your birthday? Happy birthday. Oh no, September the 14th from the script. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's funny. How's
So now,
everyone doing today? How's everyone's dispatch journey going? Type it in the chat if you can unmute. Are you finding any carriers? How's everything going?
okay, so here's the email. Here's the email from DAT support, right? Their support team. They sent it to my other email. Dear valued customer, we have some exciting news about security enhancements for your account. Starting September 12th, Tuesday, okay, we are migrating your account to our new multi-factor authentication verification process, okay? So please note, users within your organization may be migrated at different dates and times. Multi-factor authentication, or MFA, will first require you to validate via text. And that's what happens, because you'll see on your end, you'll see a little screen come up and say, enter the code that's coming to this phone number, enter the code, because it's going to be texted at that account holder, right? So, so MFS adds an additional layer of security to your account, significantly reducing the risk of unauthorized access. So I get why they're doing it. It's just kind of an inconvenience because everybody is not going to find out at the same time. People are going to experience this, and I'm going to get calls again. So in this particular training, hopefully the majority of you will watch this. Even if you're not in the Zoom today, you'll see the workaround for it. So this advanced security measure will require users to provide multiple forms of verification during login, which is fine. I like that. Ensuring that only authorized individuals can access your information. So what it does is it asks for the code that's going to be sent to the text message. And then under that, if you don't get a code, there is a link that says, try another method, okay? So here's a helpful step-by-step. Let me see if that opens up with the picture format of it. Okay, bingo, right here. Here's what you would get on the front end as users. Can you guys see the screen? I'm gonna blow it up.
Yeah, blow it up, Charles.
Okay. So when you first log in to that, boom, boom, boom. Okay. When you first log in, you go to the login screen as you normally do with our username and password from our PDFs in module 2. Then you scroll down. This is what's going to happen. It's going to say enter your country code and 6-digit code for the phone number that's on the account, right? Securing your account. And then it's going to go and you got to enter the 6-digit code. But if you don't get a code, I am advising everyone to click try another method, because then it's going to come up to the email and it's going to get a code. Then I am going to get an email, because I've done it several times this week, where it sent the code to my email, and the person who was on the phone with me will text me and say, hey man, I can't get a code. Then I tell them to hit try another method and select the email that's there. That's my email, monday_charles@yahoo.com. So I'll just simply open my phone up, open my email, give them the code and text it to them. They'll put it in and boom, they're in. So problem solved. Now, unfortunately, it takes an extra step, but on Monday, I'm going to call DAT and I'm going to update the phone number, because it has a different number that's on it. That's not even my number, which is weird. But so the workaround, we said we'll try another method and go to my email, which is my email that's set up with that account. So now I'll just give you the code from my email. So that is the workaround for that. So you guys can know that, okay? And I often mention to everybody, why is everyone so in love with that? There are other load boards here that work just as well. I don't want to say better, but the functionality of the load boards are just as good as that. I know you guys like the user experience and the user interface, but that's why we put so many load boards out here, because if one doesn't work, you have other options. But people are like, I guess, spoiled, for lack of a better word, with that. So we got Truck Stop, and I believe Truck Stop is functioning correct again, because I spoke to the account holder. and truck stop, which is trucker's path. And this is the wrong one. Make sure we got the right one. So since I'm here, I might as well test it. That way it'll tell me if it's working.
Sheldon's coming today?
Sheldon, which Sheldon?
Kind of throwing me off a bit. If that's the Sheldon box truck Sheldon.
Oh, the coach.
Yeah, coach. You tricking
We'll
us
see.
today, George. You got a surprise for us.
No, he's no. So I'll check into this one as well. So this one's not working. So I'll check into that myself just to make sure. But we had a Sheldon just come in. Sheldon? Is that Sheldon Moore?
Let's see. Who's acting?
Sheldon Wilson.
Sheldon Wilson. Okay, you got me there for a minute. I thought you were my buddy Sheldon Moore out of Atlanta, the box truck coach. But it's fine. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I saw his video.
You're just as welcome. Man. I'm just wanted to see. Are you a guest in here or?
Oh no, I've been to a few meetings already.
I'm saying, are you an enrolled member of the course?
Yes.
Okay, so you signed up in the row. Okay, so you are. Okay, cool. Well, welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm making a note of trucker path. I'm going to look into that. So I'm glad we're checking these like in real time. So that's cool. That apparently works. The ones you guys love, right? Trucking Planet. Let's log into Trucking Planet. Okay, Trucking Planet works. So number one works. When you see Exodus and there, that works. So that's cool. So I'll log out. So number one works. So Trucking Planet works. That works. Trucker's Path doesn't. I know the other ones work. I almost never have problems with these other ones, especially Next Load, Direct Freight Services, which is a great load board, by the way. Free Freight Search and Com Freight. But for the sake of today, let's make sure, right? So let's log in, Next Load, and make sure that everything is good with it.
While Charles is doing that, everyone, be sure to put your updates on what's going, it's LaDonna, on what's going on with your dispatching company or your thoughts, your brainstorming. Put it in the chat for us.
Yes, please. What is your status right now? So Next Load works, so I'm signing out. So just verifying everything. So I'm gonna not do that. Sign out. So Next Load is cool. Direct Freight Services, which is a great load board.
Yes, that was the one, but the rest he's been going through. Yep.
Direct Freight Services. This one is info. Okay. And so it's good to have multiple options for different load boards. I know some load boards are more attached to than others. Okay, so Direct Freight Services work. We have an account there. So we're logging out. So it seems to just be trucker path, truck stop, or truck loads. Okay. And then Free Freight Search and Com Freight. Those should work, but let's see, right? We want to log in and then Free Freight Search. And that, okay. All right, so that works, okay? So the only issue is Trucker's Path. So, e-carrier check, to answer Jason's question, is there a better way phone call to vet brokers that work with new MC authorities? So if your carrier has a factoring company, some factoring companies vet brokers as well by getting their MC number and looking them up in their system to look for red flags of non-payment and things like that also. So some load boards vet factoring companies. Most load boards show the scores of the factoring company, either the ratings or the scores, the credit ratings or the credit scores. So that's another way as well. Let me log out of Free Freight Services. And so ComFreight is more of a bidding shipper type of load. I just purchased this one. So let's log into that one to verify it. And I think, yeah, my stuff is auto-populated, so that's cool. We'll go ahead and log in. And we're in. It's just no activities yet. You can do truck search, you can do load search with ComFreight, and then you just, go from there. So let's log out of that. Okay. And what I may do also for each load board at some point over time, I'm going to need to create a detailed video and have a link to it under the actual load board itself of how to thoroughly use that specific load board with examples maybe of the 3 equipment types. So you guys can get even more detailed training specifically in that part. And in addition to what CHASA and I offer when we combine our heads and do the load board master seminar, which is the 17th of next month from 1 to 4. So, so we want to basically just make sure, we do that. So now I see a message from Francisco. Can you unmute yourself? Because I want to make sure you understand. So you're having a hard time focusing, went over module 1 10 times, still can't grasp it. Okay, so let's go over that. This is Q&A. I want to make sure that I try to touch everyone's question in a decent amount of time. So is that you, Francisco?
Me?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, I became and yeah, I try not to, go ahead and go to the next one. I'm playing module 1 before I go to work, when I get home, and I still can't get it. I'm not sure.
Okay, so let's go to module 1. So when you
Right.
okay, so when you first enrolled, you went to the orientation and say, hey, welcome to Exodus Logistics Learning Center. Thank you for choosing us for your training provider. Here's what's coming up, right? Here's what's to look, just like any orientation. They'll tell you, thank you for choosing us, welcome, and here's what to look forward to, right? It's like you go to a school orientation, a work orientation, what have you, right? So after that, there was the business setup with the information on how to set the business up. And then it went to module 1, right? Module 1 is how to get carriers, how to get truck drivers to dispatch for, right? So, well, and the reason why it's module 1 is because you can't be a dispatcher unless you have a truck driver to dispatch for, right? So, now
On my end, I'm sorry to cut you off. On my end, I think what's happening is right when we get into the attorney carrier profile, that's where I just
okay, so your phone is going in and out, but I think I heard what you said. You're talking about the documentation, the carrier profile, limited power of attorney.
for some reason, like as soon as I get there, I just can't.
Okay, so let me go through module 1 from the top, because there may be others in here who may not ask the question you asked, but still want to have the explanation, right? So you may get the first part of it, like, okay, understanding how to get the carrier. Before you get the carrier, you want to understand which carrier you want to get, right? Their equipment type, the type of trucks and trailers they drive. And the ones that we advise are the 3 major equipment types. So you understand that part, right? Okay, so we can kind of scroll down here. We define the equipment types, there are different equipment types. There's 3 major equipment types: 53-foot dry van, 53-foot reefer or refrigerated, 48 and 53-foot flatbeds. Those are the 3 major equipment types, and we tell you why you should focus on them. On the roads the most, find loads for them on the load boards the easiest, pay the better rates, right? So it stands to reason that that'll be a good choice to start with for new dispatching companies, right? In addition to that, we also mentioned the other specialty equipment types, right? Because we want to still let you choose. Ultimately, the choice is yours as a dispatch service, whether you choose the 3 major equipment types or the specialty equipment types. But we just want we want to define who the carriers are. Okay. So now we got that part, the power onlys, the box trucks, the hot shot sprinter vans and cargo vans. We understand that. So now that you decided whether it was a specialty equipment type or one of the 3 major equipment types, you got a choice in your head which ones you want to go after, right? So now you say, well, now how do I go after? What are some of the methods or some of the ways, right? So that's the next progression in module 1, right? So some of the ways, and we discussed different ways: truck stops, cold calls, the campaigns, the emails and text campaigns, word of mouth or referrals, social media, like LinkedIn, Facebook groups for the owner-operated Facebook groups, whichever method you choose, because you may have an affinity for one method over another method. You may be good at cold calling than you are visiting truck stops, or you may be good at LinkedIn and social media than cold calling, or whatever method you choose the best one that gets you the result that you want the quickest, right? So now we are past the methods of getting the carriers. And as I go through this, in addition to Francisco, if anyone needs me to stop and explain a little bit further, just raise your hand and let me know, okay? So we got our equipment type in our mind as a dispatch service. We got the method that we're going to go after them as a dispatch service. What happens when we get one? What do we do? Okay. In other words, what happens if we get one that's interested in our dispatch service, right? Then we give them our dispatcher packet. This is where you are, right, Francisco? The dispatch packet.
Matt, right there. Right.
Okay. So our dispatch packet, we provide in this training templates for you to design for your dispatching company or dispatching service, right? There are 3 documents in the dispatch packet according to our training and our advice. The first one is the dispatcher agreement, which is the contract between you and that person, that carrier, that owner operator, that truck driver, right? This is just a template. You can change the verbiage how you see fit. We just want to give you a format to follow. Okay. Let's see. So this is the agreement, right? And this is a PDF version of it. The Word version of it is what you, the dispatch service, will download to your computer from our portal in order to update and edit the information for your company, right? You follow me so far, Francisco? Okay.
Following you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the first document in the dispatch packet. Do you want me to go through the verbiage, or you understand the verbiage in the agreement? No, I can't hear you. Your phone went out.
Nothing.
Okay, now I can hear you. Now I heard you.
Yeah.
You want
No. Yeah. I would rather have you go because I don't understand it. Because that's when I'm looking in on the modules you go through, and I just I get lost. And I'll go back over, and for some reason I just can't get that part. What's that? The limited power attorney
and the carrier profile.
And the carrier profile, right?
Okay, so today's training, we're going to go into a little bit detail of the dispatcher packet. I'm sorry, I was typing to someone who said they thought they couldn't get a reply to us. So the person on the iPhone. So iPhone, I'm typing what you're asking. So we'll see. All right. So the first document, and I'm going to use you, if you don't mind, Francisco, as an example. Okay. And the name of your dispatching service. Do you have a dispatch service created? A company created
Not
yet?
at the, not at the moment, because I have another question. So and for that too, because I have a situation with that right now.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do what you guys should do when you first come into the portal, and you need to create your documents in your dispatch packet and have those ready. So when you do get a carrier, you can send those documents to them. So the first thing is I'm going to download, like I've instructed you guys to do, download to my local computer the dispatcher agreement, the first one, the first document. So I'm downloaded and I'm opening it up. And let me share my screen. Okay, so can you see the Word document dispatcher agreement?
Yes, Charles, Miss LaDonna.
Okay. All right, so there it is. So now that's the first thing you have to work on. This is the main contract between you and the truck driver. Let me blow this up to just one page so everybody can see it. Okay? It's a 2-page document. I just want to blow it up so large enough so everyone can see it. All right. So now, here's the first thing. If you have a logo or not, right? Let's say you don't. You didn't get a logo, you trademarked or whatever, right? So if you don't have a logo, guess what? Boom, it's gone. Take it out, okay? And then I'm going to move this up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to save this file as to my desktop so I won't overwrite my main template, right? So I'm going to save it to my desktop, and I'm going to call it, I'm just going to name it Francisco, because that's who we're answering the question for, right? Francisco DP. And then I'll put DA. So DP stands for Dispatcher Packet dash DA Dispatcher Agreement, okay? And I'll name the carrier profile limited power of attorney the same naming convention, all right? So now that's what we have. So now you can leave the word dispatch service agreement. You can call it dispatcher agreement. You can call it whatever you want. Let's change it so we can show you that it's interchangeable. Let's just say dispatcher agreement or dispatch agreement, okay? Dispatch agreement, just playing around with it so you can know that this document is an editable document, okay? I'm gonna resave it. Now, I know you don't have a company created now, but when you do, what will be the name of your company, Francisco? Okay, you're going.
Yeah,
I can't hear.
It's
Go ahead.
It's my connection over here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
All right. Yeah. No, because that comes with my second question too. Because like I mentioned before, I know you guys you don't deal with tax attorneys or anything, but I do have an LLC, but I just haven't used it for that purpose. Real estate,
Okay.
and I was trying to get a DBA. I can use it for my trucking company here, but now I'm on the fence. I don't know what to do now.
Okay, so you have a real estate LLC company, right? And right? Am I right?
I haven't used it.
Okay, you have a real estate LLC company that you haven't used, but it's registered as a real estate LLC company. And you're trying to put a DBA under that for a transportation company. You see the difference there? They don't relate.
I totally understand they don't relate. That's why I just wanted to use it, because I haven't used it for real estate.
So
being that
so if I were you, when you set that up, the people that you set it up with, I would call and get some advice from them in regards to, I know I've created it and established it as an LLC for real estate, but I'm pivoting into transportation, namely dispatching. Since I didn't use it for real estate, will it be okay to put DBA under it for my dispatching service and then see what they say. If it were me, I would advise just create a whole new entity, whole new LLC for dispatch. But if you are adamant about using, because I'm assuming you want to keep it because of the name or whatever, right?
Well, that's not the biggest deal though, to be honest. That's not the deal breaker here. It was just because I already have an LLC and I wanted to use it before, getting rid of it, because it's
Okay.
just, yeah, I just didn't want to go in.
Okay. Well, then go with that first option then, calling the company that you got it established with and the state that and then see if you can update it or change it. Since you created it for real estate, but you want to change it to dispatching and see what they say, because to avoid having to create a new LLC, that's what you're trying to do. So on Monday, if I were you on Monday, check into that. Worst case scenario is you just have to create a separate. That's the worst case scenario. The best case is they'll let you use it, put a DBA under it, and then go from there. So you just got to see based off of the, when you call them and see. Okay.
Or to add something else, but this was also involving that. Now, being that we work remotely, now, do you have to get an LLC from the state that you live in, or can I get one at any other state?
No, it's your domicile residential state that you're in. When you establish your
Okay.
LLC, it's where you live, your domicile residence.
So I can still dispatch trucks from other states then if I wanted to.
Of course. Yes, of course. You all over the country.
All right. Okay. That was my, all right.
Yes, sir. All over the country. You certainly can. So, but in any case, whether you use the current LLC or create a new one, what is the name of your dispatch service or your company that's going to be dispatching? What's the name of it?
Transit Out Logistics.
Transit Out Logistics.
Oh.
Okay, so I don't know if you're able to type it in the chat, but I didn't hear it because it was kind of chopping up. Because the reason I'm asking is because I'm going to put that in place of where it says dispatch company right here. I'm going to replace that with the name of your company, because with the dispatch agreement, some of this document has to be already pre-filled out with your information prior to you sending it to the carrier. Your information should be pre-filled out already. It should already have the name of your company and any other information that relates to you. So when the carrier gets it, all they have to do is fill in their stuff and then send it back to you. So I'm trying to see what is, so can you, what's the name of the company again?
Our Logistics.
Okay, so it's going in and out. I'm trying to get you. I'm trying to understand. Are you saying Transit Owl Logistics? Transit Owl. Okay. There we go. Transit, someone typed it in. Transit Owl. And is that 2 words or 1? 2 words. Okay. Transit Owl Logistics. Okay, so I'll type it in. So when you guys are designing your dispatch agreement, you will replace all of this right here with, and Francisco said Transit Owl Logistics. Correct? Okay. Transit Owl Logistics. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight it. You don't have to do this, guys, but I'm going to do it for the purpose of this training so it can stick out. I'm going to highlight it so it can stick out. Okay. I want to highlight it. And then also I'm going to copy it to my clipboard and paste it in every other location where I need to put it at, so I don't have to keep typing it. Okay. All right. So now you have and then you put your phone number here. Now I'm going to put dummy phone number, dummy information, just to show you that you can do it though. So you will put your company name, Transit Owl Logistics for the dispatcher. Your phone number is whatever your phone number is. We'll make a dummy one up. We'll say 555-555-1212. Okay. You'll put your real, obviously you'll put your real one in there, right? You will say, we'll create a dummy email. We'll say I don't know, either info or admin at transitourlogistics.com or something like that, right? Just something close related. And you'll put your real one in, obviously, because they need to get a hold of you, right? So admin or info or support at, what was yours? Transit Owl Logistics. Right? Did I leave something out? .com or something like that? Okay. And then for your website, we'll just follow the same thing. www.transitourlogistics.com, right? So we'll follow the same thing. Is everybody on the same page with me on this section right here? www.transit. It's not a bad company name, by the way. Logistics.com. That's the website. All right, so I'm going to save that as a template. Remember, this is a Word document from our template in the portal that you grab to update yours, right? So now you have your part pre-filled out, okay? Then we're going to scroll through the dispatcher agreement where it says I and then blank carrier. That's where the truck driver is going to fill out their information. That's the truck driver filling this out. That's why it's going to stay blank, right? Truck number blank, they're going to fill that in. Trailer number blank, they're going to fill that in. Motor carrier or MC number, leave that blank because they're going to be the ones filling that in. They're giving you their motor carrier number. They're giving you their DOT number. So that stays blank. Okay. And then after they fill all that out, they're saying, hey, I hereby grant authorization or permission to, well, where it says blank dispatch service, what am I going to replace this with? Boom, right there. I'm going to replace it with the dispatch service. Transit, in this case, Transit Owl Logistics, right? To act as my dispatcher or logistics manager for the sole purpose of, and what do dispatchers do? Search for and book loads, process all broker paperwork, which is the broker carrier agreement and the rate confirmation, and obtaining and or submitting all necessary documents required. Well, the necessary documents required are the ones that you're going to get the carrier to send you copies of when you send them out the dispatch agreement. That is the MC number or the MC certificate, the W-9, the certificate of insurance. And if they're working with a factoring company, the credit application and the notice of assignment. So far, so good? Okay. In order to expedite loads and dispatch via phone, fax, or email for my truck in the state of the carrier, because they're the ones who's filling it out, right? So it's in the carrier state, their domicile state, where they are based out of. Let's say I'm your carrier, so I'm going to put Virginia, because I'm in Virginia. So just as me, because I get people who ask me that question: is it in my state, the dispatch, or is it in the carrier state? Well, the person who's filling it out,
Ask.
Yeah, I get that question all the time. So it's in the carrier state. Virginia, I'll say, and I'll put it here, or the carrier's state. Domicile state. Or state of residence, or where they live, okay, where they're based out of. That's what that means, okay? So that's the first paragraph. Are we good on that, everybody? And this is your question, Francisco. So are you good so far?
Do as we speak.
Huh? You're doing it as we speak. Okay, so now the next paragraph. Let's go into here. This paragraph right here, all this right here. Let's go through this. All billing, and I should underline this, all billing, invoicing, and collections of revenue from shippers, brokers, and or factoring companies, because those are the three main ways truck drivers are paid. They're either paid from a load that they got directly from the shipper, they're paid from a load they may have gotten from a broker, or they're paid through their factoring company. right? Those are the three main ways. So all billing, invoicing, and collections of revenue that's due to the carrier from those three parties who are supposed to pay the carrier, whichever one they used, right, are the sole responsibility of the carrier. Does that make sense? Are the sole responsibility of the carrier. Here is the caveat. Unless, and right here, the dispatch service in this case, unless Transit Owl Logistics or whatever logistics company you guys are out here listening to this Zoom, unless you, the dispatch service, and the trucking company or the carrier have arranged and agreed upon additional services to be provided to the carrier by you, the dispatch service. Okay, so unless you guys come up with an agreement that says, hey, I'll handle your billing, I'll handle your invoicing and collections of revenue for you, Mr. Carrier, as a dispatch service, I'll handle that for you. But I'm going to charge you additional fees for that. Okay. The main reason for you guys getting up under a dispatcher agreement with a carrier initially as a dispatch service is only to dispatch. Learn the art of dispatching first before you attempt to entertain doing the other things, billing, invoicing, and collection of revenue. First, learn how to get them loads. Okay, that's the important thing first, because they can't bill, invoice, or collect revenue unless they have moved a load. So that should be your initial job as a dispatch service. Get them the loads first. And then maybe later on, 6 months to a year, as you're booking loads for them regularly, then you may want to entertain those extra services. But you might want to charge extra for that because that's extra work for you. Okay? Does anyone have a question about that paragraph? Hopefully that was explained clearly for you guys. Right? No questions about that paragraph. Okay. Next little small paragraph. And remember, the dispatch company's name should be pre-filled in. Transit Owl Logistics, Transit Owl Logistics, right? We're creating the document before we send it to the carrier. Okay. Okay, the next paragraph. If revenue for a shipment or shipments, or I should say, or put in parentheses, if revenue for a shipment or load, right, or shipments, loads, because they mean the same thing, they're synonymous, okay, is uncollectible. In other words, if the truck driver didn't get paid from one of those three parties that they should have gotten paid from, depending on who they got the load from, shipper, broker, or factoring company, right? So if revenue is, or for the load or loads is uncollectible, you, the dispatch service, and let me put your name in here, or whoever you are when you're doing this, Transit Owl Logistics will be held harmless, and no penalty or deductions of fees will be made towards you. You know why? Because you have, as a dispatch service, have nothing to do with giving the revenue to the truck driver. Who is responsible for paying the truck driver? Well, it depends on who the truck driver got, or who you, the dispatcher, got the load for the truck driver from. Shipper, broker, and if they have a factoring company, then their factoring company comes in. But you're not accountable for the truck driver not being paid. That is not a dispatcher issue. Okay? Does everybody understand that? Okay. Next little small paragraph. I'll replace everything that says dispatch service with Transit Owl Logistics, or whoever you are called, your dispatch service, will be held harmless, underline that, in the event of any and all claims, okay? And the trucking company or carrier will still be obligated to pay you for your services that you render, for you finding them load, okay? So here's an example of what I mean by that. You booked the load for your carrier. They accepted the load that you booked for them, so they owe you whatever percentage you charge for booking that load, right? They picked the load up, transported it to the receiver, picked it up from the shipper, transported it to the receiver. It got to the receiver. For whatever reason, the receiver rejected the load and they filed a claim against the carrier's insurance because it was the fault of the carrier as to why the receiver rejected the load. Question: what does that have to do with the dispatcher? And why shouldn't the dispatcher still be paid? Because you booked the load, so you did your part in the contract. You honored your contract. You found them a load. They agreed to pay you every time you find a load. Just because there was a claim on this load, hey, bro, you still owe me. I booked this load. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form involved in the claim because I wasn't in the truck with you when you turned that one corner real fast and the pallet slid and they went sideways. So when they opened up the trailer doors, they got freight all over the floor. I wasn't in the truck with you when you did that. So why should I be involved in the claim? That makes sense? Okay. So, now we're good, right? On that page. So now we're on the second page. Remember, this is just the first document in the dispatcher packet. Okay, let's get rid of the logo and let's move everything up, right? So now the service fee, basically what you charge for your service, is either a flat rate or a percentage, right? So the service fee for, and we'll put the dispatch company that we're using for this example today, TESTIMONIALS Logistics, will be, now, Francisco, do you charge a percentage or do you charge a flat fee? Percentage? And between 5 and 10, what is that number? 8? Say 8? Okay. So will be 8%. And it's going to be 8% per load. Every load you book for that carrier is 8%. Okay. Now, how you invoice them, I don't know if you invoice them after every load or you let it accumulate for the week and you invoice them for the end of the week for all the loads you did. That's totally up to you guys. You're a dispatching service. You're just letting them know that every load you book for them, you're charging 8%. Okay, in this example, or whatever percent you guys out there listening charge as dispatch services. Okay. So now, coming down here, and then here's a little note. This fee or percentage for dispatch services includes the dispatcher or the dispatch service contracting dedicated freight or lanes for the carrier. In other words, you can book spot freight for them on the load boards one at a time at 8%, or if you get them a dedicated lane and they're moving it all the time, they get paid for that. Since you found the dedicated lane, you get 8% of the revenue that they get. You guys follow what I'm saying? Okay. So I'm saving it I'm going to send this to you, Francisco, so you can have it as a template. And still you can update and edit and everything, right? So now, and any questions from anyone so far that we're explaining? We're on page 2, okay? As loads, freight, or cargo, they're all the same thing, are picked up, delivered, and the carrier is paid first, okay? An amount equal to the above stated percentage or flat rate, we're going to remove or flat rate because we did percentage, okay, will be payable to TESTIMONIALS Logistics. We're going to replace this with TESTIMONIALS Logistics, okay? Okay? So, and then now here's another paragraph. Either party has the right, either party being the dispatch service or the trucking company who's being dispatched for. Either party has the right to end this agreement without cause at any time within, and I just put as an example, 7 days written notice or email request. You can determine what you want it to be, 3 days, a week, 10 days, whatever you decide. So I will leave this, I'll highlight it, indicating that the time is not you can determine that time. I just put 7 days here. You can say within 3 days, within a day, within a week, and by either written or email request, right? Well, I need to change that because written or email request is the same thing, right? So either, let's say phone or email request. Let's say that, okay? So they can either call you or request it on email. That probably makes more sense, right? So, and then this is not an exclusive contract or agreement. In other words, the carrier can have multiple dispatch services for their trucking company. You guys need to understand that. They don't just want to deal with you exclusively, because now they're putting their eggs in one basket and they're relying on you. If you are new and you do something wrong and you put them in a place that they can't get a load out of, they're stuck, right? So this is a non-exclusive agreement because that says I can work with anyone. The one I'm going to, as a truck driver, if it was me, the one I'm going to choose is the one who gives me the best result, the one who gives me the best paying load, going to the area I needed to go to, paying what I wanted to pay, basically following my profile, the carrier profile that I gave you, the requirements, okay? So, and then right here, the rest is just signing, right? They're going to sign their name. They're going to print their name, sign it, their phone number, and their email right here, and all of these things right here, okay? And then dispatch companies right here, we're going to replace this with the dispatch company right there. And then you will have to sign that part because that's your signature to make it official. And then down here at the bottom, this is the end of it. This is a note. This helps you out as a dispatcher because it's on the profile and on the dispatcher agreement where the note is saying when return, and it's to the carrier, when returning the dispatcher packet, which includes this completed dispatch agreement, the carrier profile, and the limited power of attorney, please include copies of the MC authority letter, certificate of insurance, and W-9. So you're asking the carrier by note. You're going to mention it to them on the phone, but you're asking them by note. You're kind of backing it up. And then here's another thing. If you are working with a factoring company, Mr. Carrier or Miss Carrier, please also include a copy of factoring company's credit application so that they can run a credit check on the broker and send a notice of assignment if the credit is favorable. That's how the factoring company works. And then thank you, all rights reserved. That is it for the dispatcher agreement. Okay.
Is this all part of that packet? That
Yes,
dispatcher packet?
This is the first document of the dispatcher packet. It's only 3 documents. This dispatcher agreement, which we just went through. Next will be the carrier profile, and then the limited power of attorney. Okay.
It's not part of the packet then?
What is it? Say it again.
Letter and the certificate of insurance, that's not part of the packet when you send out to the carrier?
That's not part of the packet you create and send to the carrier. It will eventually be included in your carrier packet when they send this information back and they send you copies of those things, the MC authority, the W-9 certificate of insurance, because they need to send you their copies. Because those are credentials of the carriers that you as a dispatcher will need when you are booking loads for them with the broker. Because every broker with whom your carrier's MC does not show as part of their brokerage and as an approved carrier, they need to set that carrier up and vet them. And most documents they ask for is their MC, their W-9, and certificate of insurance. Those are the common documents that all brokers use to vet carriers. Why is that? The MC authority says that the carrier is authorized to transport freight. They are legally authorized. They have a legal document from the FMCSA saying, hey, I can transport freight legally for a fee. That's what the MC authority says. The certificate of insurance says, hey, I have the proper insurance coverage, 100,000 cargo, $1 million liability, to be able to transport what I am legally allowed to transport. So that's what the insurance is. And then the W-9 says, hey, I am a legitimate company with an EIN number. So I am legal. I'm a company. Because every broker will say, why would I give my freight to someone who cannot prove those three things? Who can't legally transport freight, don't have the insurance to do so, or is not a legal company. So why, as a freight broker, would I give freight to a person like that? And why would a dispatcher need copies of those documents up front? Because you want to be efficient as a dispatch service. I would rather get those documents up front from every carrier that I'm going to be dealing with. So when I do go to brokers to book loads for them, I have my stuff all ready to send to them when they need it, as opposed to me chasing down my carrier asking for them later on. That runs the risk, that second part runs the risk of you losing a load because you don't know where your carrier is at. They could be driving, they can't get to their files or whatever. If you have copies of these in your possession, that makes your job a little bit more efficient, right? Okay, so.
Thank you.
Okay, so are you getting that part? You good now with the dispatch agreement portion?
Yeah, definitely. Now it makes a whole lot of sense now. It cleared that up because I was all over the place with that.
Okay, so now let's go to because the carrier profile is easier, let's go to the limited power of attorney. Let's break that one down. Okay, so let me go and grab the limited power of attorney. You share that. And limited power of attorney. Can you guys see the screen? Back on the website.
Yeah, we can, Charles.
Okay. So limited power of attorney. I'm going to download the Word, the same thing you did with the Word document for the dispatcher agreement, which is the first document in the dispatcher packet. I'm going to go to the second document now in the dispatcher packet, download it from our portal to your local machine, and make the changes to match your company. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Download the limited power of attorney. Okay. I'm opening it up and I'm going to share the screen because I know you can't see it yet. I'm going to do a new share. Okay. And can you guys see the screen with the limited power of attorney yet?
Power of attorney. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to blow it up. Or enlarge it. I don't want to use certain words. You know, FBI is listening. I'm going to enlarge it. Okay. And then go through the same process we went through for the dispatch agreement, explaining it line by line so everybody can get it. Okay. Is that fair enough? So if you don't have a logo, guess what? Bye-bye. Right? And if you have a logo, you don't have to add it to the document. It just looks more professional, right? Looks more business oriented. Okay. So limited power of attorney. I'll even be so bold as to highlight this word so it sticks out. It is not a power of attorney, which is everything, like a durable power of attorney. It is a limited power of attorney, only limited to certain acts that the principal has given the attorney, in fact, power to do on a limited basis. Okay, so let's break that down. All right. So be it acknowledged that I, the carrier, who is called the principal in the relationship under limited power of attorney, do hereby grant a limited, and I'll eliminate specific, a limited and specific, but you can keep it in there, but I'll take it out. Limited power of attorney to, and then what was the name of the dispatch service, dispatcher or dispatch company? So it's green. Transit Owl Logistics as my attorney, in fact. So the parties involved in a limited power of attorney is the principal, who is the person. The principal is the person who is giving someone else power to represent them. Who is that in this relationship? That's the carrier, right? Then the attorney, in fact, is the person who's going to represent them, receive that limited power. Who is that? That is the dispatcher. Okay? So far, so good on this first paragraph. And let me save this because I overwrote it So let me save it as, I saved the first one as transit. What did I save it as? Francisco. So I'm going to replace that. Francisco DP, dispatch packet. I'm going to say, instead of DA, dispatch agreement, I'm going to say LPOA, limited power of attorney, and then save it on my desktop. Okay. Now, so we're good. So the first paragraph is cool. It defined who the parties are. Who is the principal? The motor carrier. Who is the attorney in fact in the limited power of attorney relationship? That is the dispatch service. Okay. So now, said attorney in fact, dispatcher, shall have full limited power and authority to undertake and perform only the following acts on my behalf. Let me underline that, because that is the carrier stating in this document what you can or cannot do. Only the following acts on my behalf. So they have full limited power. Let me highlight that. It's limited. It's not full power. Like the full power of attorney is full limited. So in law and in etymology, words mean things. There's meaning to the words. Okay. So we can even take out full and just have limited. Okay. Shall have full limited power and authority to undertake and perform only the following acts on my behalf. And I'm going to take out number 3, because starting out as dispatchers, some people say, well, I want to leave it in. You can do that as you see fit. But any additional administrative tasks, such as bookkeeping and invoicing, you're not going to be starting out doing that, right? So I'm going to take it out. You're only going to be starting out doing what? Dispatching. That's it. Because it's going to take you about 3-6 months to get used to you and your carrier communicating, talking on the phone, agreeing to loads and stuff like that. Dispatching, learning the process. So maybe after a year, if you're with this carrier, you may entertain doing the other things. If so, then you can come back and add, with the authorization of your carrier, you can add the extra duties in there when you're invoicing and bookkeeping for them, because you're going to need the power to sign those documents also. Okay. So, but what are the following acts on my behalf? What are the only following acts? Following acts on my behalf. Number 1, complete any and all broker carrier agreements. Let me highlight that. I want to make sure things stick out for you guys. Complete any and all broker carrier agreements for any and all brokerages that the carrier is onboarding with or getting set up with. Onboarding or getting set up with, right? I want to make it plain so it's understood, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is to complete any and all rate confirmations which officially books the loads, okay? Because the broker carrier agreement process in the onboarding process only gets the carrier set up and approved with the broker. If you want to book the load, you still have to agree and sign that rate confirmation and get it back to the broker. So it is a 2-step process when you're onboarding the carrier and getting them approved. Let me say that back, I take that back. It is a 2-step process in booking loads for the carrier. It is a 1-step process when you onboard them. All you got to do is fill out the broker carrier agreement, send that back with those supporting documents, MC, certificate of insurance, W-9, okay? But it's a 2-step process when you are booking loads, because especially if you are booking loads for your carrier with whom they are not already set up with that broker that you found a load for on the load board. Then it becomes a 2-step process. It is a 1-step process if you found a load on a load board and your carrier's MC is already an approved carrier for that brokerage. Then guess what? You don't have to do number 1 because they're already set up with them. All you have to do is number 2, agree to the rate, negotiate the numbers, sign the rate com when you and your carrier agree to it, and send it back to the broker. Okay. Let me stop here because I see a question. Don Grasty said, I have a question when you have a chance. Go ahead. Unmute yourself. Okay. And I'll keep going until she does. So are we clear in this first paragraph and the 2 steps of the particular acts that a dispatcher can do?
Why you didn't type it?
Hello?
As
Hello?
yes. Go ahead. Don Grasty, unmute yourself, please. They were unmuted for a second, and they went back out. Go ahead.
You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, sir. Yeah, yes.
Okay, how you doing, sir? This is Rigo. I'm on my wife's computer.
Okay,
I
Rico.
wanted to ask you a quick question. How can we go about vetting the brokers to make sure that the brokers is not, on no, we ain't dealing with no grimy broker and then our carrier got to go through a hassle to get their money, or that's only on the factoring company's end?
No, it's not. No, so that's not true. So if you're a carrier, so there's 2 scenarios in that question. If your carrier is working with a factoring company or if they are not. Okay. If you have a carrier that's working with a factoring company, then your job becomes easy because the factoring company does the credit check and make sure that the broker is good. Because you know why? Because the factoring company's client is your carrier, and they want to make sure that this broker is going to pay before they extend a line of credit and pay your carrier up front. So that's the first scenario. If your carrier is working with a factoring company. If your carrier is not working with a factoring company, and that may be the case in most cases, especially for new dispatch services, if your carrier is not working with a factoring company, some of the load boards show credit because it's a matter of public data. It shows credit scores and credit ratings of brokers on the boards. So as you look for loads if you look for loads for your carriers, you'll see their credit scores and credit ratings, and you can decide there. So a good credit score is anything from 89 to 90 and above. Anything below that, you want to question it. Okay. Credit scores, and then credit ratings. An A rating and a B rating says that this is a good broker. They pay on time. There are no claims or filing of claims against the bond of the brokers. An N rating, N as in Nancy, says that this broker is new. Their authority has been active for a year or less. Okay. And I as in Isaac, says that this broker has not given enough information to give a credit score that you can determine whether you want to use them or not. So the I stands for incomplete. Right. It stands for incomplete, okay? Because they haven't given all the information. They've given public information, but not enough to determine if a person can work with them or not. So those are the 2 scenarios, whether your carrier is working with a factoring company or they're not, okay? If they're not, then you leverage load boards to whichever load board you're using that shows credit scores and credit ratings of a broker. And I'll look at it in a second once I get done with this, to show credit ratings and credit scores, okay? All right? Okay. So continuing on with the limited power of attorney. So we're good to this point, right, Francisco? All this that I'm highlighting? Okay, so next, the authority herein shall include such incidental, this is just verbiage, right? Incidental acts required to carry out and perform the specific authorities granted herein. Basically, the principal wants to guarantee that the attorney, in fact, is doing what they have been authorized to do according to the limited power of attorney. My attorney, in fact, agrees to accept disappointment of the limited power of attorney, they're being appointed a limited power of attorney, subject to its terms, and agrees to act and perform in said fiduciary capacity. What does that mean? that means they want to act in accordance to what they were granted to act as, being able to complete all the broker carrier agreements according to that and do the rate confirmations. That is the fiduciary capacity that they should that they were given to act under. Okay, consistent with my best interest. This is the carrier talking. They want the attorney in fact to act in my best interest. That's why they're giving them a limited power of attorney to represent them. Okay. And then as my attorney in fact, in its discretion, deems advisable. So now, this limited power of attorney is effective upon execution. Now, this next paragraph, this limited power of attorney may be revoked or taken away or canceled, right? I'll put this in an underline. By any of the following, and you check the one that's applicable to you. You don't have to have all of them in there, or you can leave all of them in there and then let the carrier decide which way. So which ways can the carrier revoke the limited power of attorney? Well, if he checks the first box, the principal, who's the principal, guys? That's the carrier, right? The principal or carrier at any time by authorizing a revocation. So the carrier can do, they can revoke the limited power of attorney at any time. If they check the box and put their initial there, then they're saying at any time, if you accept this limited power of attorney with this type of revocation, the first option, the carrier saying, I can revoke this limited power of attorney at any time. Okay. The second option is they can revoke it when the stated above one-time limited power of attorney or responsibility has been completed. Well, if you're booking loads for a carrier, it's just not going to be one time. So in most cases, they're not going to select this second option because they want you to be their limited power of attorney as long as you're booking loads for them over and over and over. It's not a one-time thing, right? But this still is an option. If you do it one time for them and they want to just do it one time, that's fine. But chances are option number 2 is never going to be checked and initialed, okay? And then option number 3 on a specific day and month and year. So they say, hey, I want you to book loads for me only for the year because my other dispatcher got locked up. He had a parole violation. He's going to do a year. So December 31st of 2024, he's going to come back and be my dispatcher when he comes home. I can use you until then. So he'll check this box initially on the 31st day of December 2023 or 2024. That's why I'm going to revoke your limited power of attorney on this day because my guy, he's coming home from prison or coming home from jail. And he was good at what he did until he went to jail. And I want to continue to use him. But while he's locked up, I'll use you. Or whatever excuse, whatever reason. It's a specific day and a specific time. Okay. Okay. And then this limited power of attorney form shall automatically be revoked upon my death, the carrier, or incapacitation, that's a standard statement in any power of attorney, whether it's durable, limited, whatever. If the person dies or they're incapable or incompetent to give instructions or assign someone a limited power of attorney or a power of attorney, then that's automatic revocation. That is a standard concept. Okay? Provided any person relying on this limited power of attorney shall have full rights to accept and reply upon the authority of my dispatcher, attorney in fact. That's who the attorney in fact is, dispatcher. Until in receipt of actual notice of revocation. Okay? So, are we good on this first part? Okay. The second part, oh yeah, and this is a continuation of the first part. State law. This limited power of attorney is governed by the state laws of who? The person who's giving the other person the right, which is the principal, which is the carrier. So let's say I'm in Virginia, and Virginia is actually not a state; it's actually a commonwealth. But just say, for example, Virginia, and I spelled Virginia wrong. Okay. So, okay, as an example, just as in Virginia, or principals, we'll just put that, principals state or Commonwealth. Okay, it is the principal, because some people ask me questions about that. I'll take Virginia or out here in the state of that. Okay. All right. Okay. Commonwealth versus state. What's the difference besides the name? Freedom, slavery. You want to go deep? Commonwealths, well, that's another discussion. But okay. So and then the signed, the carrier or the principal will sign it on the day that they get it and they decide to fill it out. So whatever day it is, let's say we got today, September, the 30th day of September 2023, principal's signature, they will sign it. Principal's printed name, they will print it. Right? This is the only time that you don't sign or print the carrier's name, because you have yet to get a limited power of attorney. This is what you're doing. So they have to sign it. It's them. Okay. Now, acceptance of the appointment, that is for you, because you have to, just because they issued a limited power of attorney to you, you still have to accept it. Okay. So here's where you pre-fill, just like with the dispatcher agreement, you pre-fill the information in this section for you. So and this is your document that you're sending to the carrier anyway. So you want to have your information pre-filled. So I, Transit Owl Logistics, the attorney in fact, the dispatch service, named above, hereby accept appointment as attorney in fact in accordance with the foregoing instrument, which is the limited power of attorney. The limited power of attorney is the foregoing instrument. It is the instrument that you are using, that you are filling out and doing this process in. And then you will sign it and you will print it, right? You will sign your name and as a dispatch service, and you will print your name. So your signature will go here and your printed name, your company name will go there. Your personal signature you can put there, okay? So, and then you can, or the principal can or cannot, or it's an option as far as a witness. If you want to have them, the ability to have them a witness for them, then you can leave this whole witness section in here and let them bring a witness. If they don't have a witness, they don't have to fill out this section. This section is only for if the principal or the truck driver or the carrier is going to have a witness in front of them when they go before a physical notary. Okay? And this is what it says. This is what the witness is filling out, the person who's witnessing on the behalf of the principal. I, the witness, do hereby declare in the presence of the principal, in the presence of the carrier, that the principal carrier signed and executed this instrument, limited power of attorney, as his limited power of attorney in my presence. In other words, I viewed him filling it out, okay? That he signed it willingly, wasn't forced, that I hereby sign this limited power of attorney as witness at the request of the principal, the carrier, and in his presence, okay? And that to the best of my knowledge, the principal carrier is 18 years of age or over, okay? They're over 18, of sound mind, in other words, competent, okay? And under no constraint or undue influence. They're not being forced to do it, okay? So if they have a witness, choose to have a witness, this is what the witness is signing, and they're witnessing this, okay? So, and then the witness will sign it, print it, and put their address and information there. That is the witness section. And then finally, the last piece of this is the 3-page document. The last piece of this limited power of attorney is, so if you do it via the internet, then there's no way. Yeah, there won't be no witness. So you don't have to fill. So there is no filling out of the witness section. If you do it in physical, if the carrier does it in the physical presence and they decide they want a witness, then they can bring a witness, and this is what the witness will attest to. You don't have to have it, the witness. Okay. And then now acknowledgement of the notary. This is what the person who is notarizing this document, this is what they fill out. They're notarizing in their notary state and county, and on the day that they're going to notary, the day, the month, and the year before me appeared, whoever the trucking company is, that'll be blank because they're going to fill that out. As the principal of this limited power of attorney, who proved to me through government issued ID identification, they showed them their driver's license or some kind of identification with a picture on it. Okay. Gave them a driver's license or some kind of state ID, right? To the above named person. So I looked at the ID and said, okay, you're the person that's on this instrument according to the driver's license or state ID. Okay. In my presence, executed the foregoing, there's our word again, foregoing instrument. Okay, they're using legalese jargon, right? And acknowledged that he executed the same act as his free act and deed. In other words, of his own volition, of his own free will. He did this on his own. He wasn't coerced or forced to do it. Okay? All right. And then the notary will stamp their seal right here where it says official seal. Okay? And then they will sign it, and then they will put their commission expiration date. In other words, when their commission as a notary, public notary, expires. And guess what? That's it. Okay? But all the areas that has transit aisle logistics need to be pre-filled out. And all the other points that I highlighted, it just brings to light what it is. Okay? And that's it for the limited power of attorney, which is document 2 in the dispatcher packet. Okay? Any questions on that before we move to the third and last document in the dispatcher packet, which is the carrier profile? Okay? Any questions? I'm glad we're going through this thoroughly so we can kind of bring home the point of the packet, which is what you guys need as dispatchers. Okay? So let's go to the website again and go down to the last document in the dispatcher packet. Dispatcher agreement, limited power of attorney. Here is the third document, the carrier profile. Okay? So you will download it to your local machine, the Word version, right? Download the Word version, and let me share that. And okay, can you guys see the Word version of the carrier profile? I'm going to blow it up a little bit. I keep saying that. I'm going to enlarge it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're going to enlarge it. And the first thing I'm going to do is save it as a different name so we won't overwrite what we already have, right? And what did I call it? There it is, Francisco DP-CP. So DP is dispatcher packet, CP is carrier profile. So we got the names. So now that's what it's saved as, okay? So now the carrier profile. What is the carrier profile? The carrier profile is what you design on your end and send to the carrier to fill out, telling you what they require of you as a dispatch service when you are finding loads for them on the load boards. What are their requirements, right? How they want you to find loads. So you got a blueprint when you're looking for loads for them. If you follow the blueprint and listen to your carrier, chances are they're going to accept that load, unless there's a reason that they won't accept it, okay? So let's go through this. Carrier profile. This first part is pretty self-explanatory. It's just they're filling this out, giving you their general information, their physical address and their mailing address. And you can update, change it how you see fit, right? Phone numbers, fax number, things like that. Their MC number, how many years was it active? Their DOT number, their SCAC if they have one, maybe even a DUNS number. You can put that. You can put anything in there you want to. I just started it off for you. Okay. Next, equipment types. Well, as a carrier, you want them to tell you what their equipment type is, the number and type of trailer. They got a van, how many vans they got, 53-foot dry vans. And we will, for confusion sake, we'll just put dry van, because most people may interpret van as box trucks, right? So we'll put specifically what it is. 53-foot dry van, 53-foot reefers, how many they have, 53-foot flatbeds, and we even threw in power onlys, right? Or other, you can add to this other ones, whatever equipment types they have, sprinter vans, cargo vans. I just started off with the 3 major ones, okay? And then trucks, truck numbers, trailer numbers, right? You can make this line longer because they may have multiple trucks. They may have 6 vans, 4 reefers, 2 flatbeds. So what are the truck numbers of each one and trailer numbers of each one? Make those known. And then trailer accessories for your specific equipment types. So what trailer accessories do you have for your dry vans? Do you have straps? Do you have load bars? Do you have cloths, right? Do you have a hand truck, a dolly, what they call it, right? And then for the reefer and flatbed, for the flatbeds, do you have tarps? Do you have dunnage? Do you have pipe stakes? Do you have chains and binders, right? So they'll list those things there. And then other types, okay? So you want to get as much detail under the equipment type section as possible. So when you're looking for loads on the load boards and the brokers describe the special instructions of the loads, let's say a special instruction for a load for a flatbed was it needed to be tarped, or it needed to be chained and bound, or needed to have risers because you were putting either steel beams or pipe stake or pipes or lumber on it, and it needs to be balanced. The risers brings it up so it can level it off, okay? Or the flatbed trailer had to have headache racks, right? So people don't even know what that is, right? So you want to put as detail about that in your description of your form prior to sending it to the carrier, right? And then next, this one is helpful, and I'm going to highlight it so it sticks out. It says, please list the brokers that you are already set up or approved with below. Why is that helpful for a dispatcher? Well, if you see that they're already approved with C.H. Robinson, Coyote, TQL, Allen Lund, LDI, all these different brokerages, right? Then your workload when you're booking the loads for them or onboarding them has been cut in half. Because if a carrier lists a brokerage with whom they are already approved and set up with, you don't have to do step 1 in the onboarding process. You don't have to go through the whole broker carrier agreement and sending in all the supporting documents of the carrier, because that carrier is already approved. Someone, either themselves or someone else, has already done that part. They're already set up with that brokerage. They're an approved carrier for that brokerage. The only thing you would have to do is the second half of that process, of that booking of the load, which is the rate confirmation. Seeing the load on the load board, negotiating a higher rate, which includes your percentage on top of that, and then seeing if the carrier and the broker agrees to that, signing it. If you have a limited power of attorney, sending it back to the broker, and the load is booked. Okay? So this cuts your workload. This part right here will cut your workload as a dispatcher in half if you have carriers who are already set up and approved with brokers. You can simply search for loads for the brokers according to the name of the brokerage on the load boards. You can search for loads by the company name on load boards. Certain load boards you can. You can search, you can filter in a name of a brokerage and see all their loads specifically. And then if a load matches the requirements of your carrier and in the direction they're going and the lane they're going, call that broker. Say, hey, I got a carrier who's already approved with you guys. We're looking at this load going from Norfolk to Atlanta for this dry van. Is it still available? Or whatever the circumstance is, okay? So, and then go to page 2, dispatch specifications. Or it could be dispatch requirements, you could say. You can change it to dispatch requirements, because this is what the carrier in the profile requires, okay? Dispatch, we can call it a different name. Dispatch requirements. And highlight it and save it. You can call it whatever, right? Please give us your minimum cents per mile information. We understand that many factors will change this information, but this will give us a starting point. or give us a good starting point, right? So the first one is cents per mile. And depending on the equipment type you are dispatching for this particular carrier when they are filling out this profile, most carriers sometimes are not aware of the market rates. They're down and fluctuating back and forth. So for a dry van, it may say $3 a mile. Well, in certain areas you can do that, but overall, dry vans are paying $2.25, maybe $2.50. But whatever they give, when you get this filled out and returned to you, you're going to go onto some analytical tools that we provide for you to see if what they put matches with what the market dictates, right? And then you'll split the difference. But anyway, they're going to fill this out. This is their requirements. Cents per mile. What is the maximum number of pickups from a shipper? What's the maximum number of deliveries to a receiver that they're willing to do? Do they want to touch the freight or not? Driver touch, yes or no? Most drivers are going to say no. They want to stay in their tractors while their trailers are being loaded at the shipper or unloaded at the receiver. Okay? Do they want to go in the mountains? Yes or no? Most carriers will say no. They don't want to deal with those 5 and 7% upgrades and downgrades. They don't want to worry about their Jake brakes or the escape ramps. Okay? Tolls. Do they want to save on expenses? They want to go into areas that does not have tolls. Most tolls are in the northeast or the western side of the Northeast or the eastern side of the Midwest, going from Ohio through Pittsburgh, all over to New York, Jersey, and stuff like that, different turnpikes and toll areas, right? What's their maximum weight? When they want to be home, their home time. These are some of the things, and you could add to this, right? Do they have any endorsements? If so, what are the types? Are there any clearance types? Do they have the TWIC card for the base? For the ports? Do they have rapid gate and D-bids for the base? And do they have STA for the air freight? STA stands for Security Threat Assessment. Okay? And then we added something to another. I didn't put it in here, but you can add some other things too. Okay? And then this one here, the areas of the USA you like to travel, please circle all that apply. Let's highlight that so it sticks out. Okay? So, and we broke this down for you guys, for your carriers, in what's called zones, right? We have 5 major zones in the country. Each zone has a certain number of states. We listed the states in each zone, and we abbreviated them and then put them in alphabetical order. So in the Northeast zone, right, Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Those are the states in the Northeast zone, abbreviated in alphabetical order. The carrier will simply circle the ones that they want to travel to. Same thing with the Midwest: Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. Those are the states in the Midwest zone. Then you have Southeast: Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Maryland, Mississippi, North and South Carolina, Tennessee, VA, and West Virginia. Okay. West Virginia that's that sweet spot. They may be Midwest-ish. So, okay. So, Southwest, of course, Texas is the major state in the Southwest zone, but you got Arkansas, Arizona, Louisiana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. Okay. And then the west, way out west, Alaska, Arizona. So Arizona's twice, because they're part of Arizona makes up the Southwest and the West. Okay. California, Colorado, Idaho, New Mexico, which is also in the Southwest as well, along with the West. Nevada, Oregon, Utah, Washington State, and Wyoming. Okay. And then we have an area where they can put comments down here. And then remember that note at the bottom of the dispatcher agreement? The same note is at the bottom of the carrier profile to bring home the point that you need the carriers to send you copies of their MC authority, W-9, and certificate of insurance. And if they are working with a factoring company, the credit application. Okay? So that's it. The dispatcher packet. Okay? And the 3 documents that make up the dispatcher packet, which are the dispatcher agreement, the carrier profile, and the limited power of attorney. Okay? And we are closing in to the finishing of the class. Any final questions? Was this kind of more thorough breakdown and explanation with the example? Was this helpful for you guys? Type a 1 in the chat if this was helpful for you to break it down. And I'll title this video, this training, dispatcher packet and the documents therein, or whatever, right? So hopefully, Francisco, that kind of helped you in this process. Because as dispatch services, you guys will need to develop these documents first. Okay? So someone has a question. RL, okay, thought he had a question.
That helped out a lot. That cleared up a lot of things.
Yeah, so that was a great question, Francisco, you asked, because it gave us a chance to not only help you, but help others as well, right? To kind of, so yeah. Can a dispatcher charge for creating dedicated route for a carrier? Why wouldn't it? So if I'm dispatching for you, Sergio, if I'm dispatching for you, and then I come across a broker or a direct customer that offers my carrier with whom I've been dispatching for through me the opportunity to work on dedicated lanes, why would I not want to be involved in that? Because I'm the one who orchestrated it, right?
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, for example, if like when you first started the relationship with the carrier, you were dispatching that carrier on a daily basis, and then eventually you, through your relationships, you're like, well, you know what? Let me plug this carrier to this dedicated route so that I could now dispatch, let's say, 6 more trucks, right? Because now I don't have to worry about him. I know that route is secure. So can I charge him on a weekly basis, or can a dispatcher charge him on a weekly basis?
You can charge them on a daily or weekly. So you have the flexibility
interesting.
to decide how you charge your carrier with whom you have a dispatcher agreement with.
Okay, excellent.
You have that flexibility because remember, this is your company. This is your dispatch service. So it is
Great.
your choice. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. All right, guys. We practice booking most of the Zoom calls, but I would like to see how to organize things and ask questions right then. Great. And we will do that. Why, Estella? Yes. So you want to, okay, yeah, I completely understand. All right, good. So you want to actually see one of the best ways to see an actual live booking is if you get a chance to go through the load board master seminar with legacy dispatchers and myself. Chasa actually books loads for her carrier in real time, right? But you said no, I would like to see the invoicing. Okay, so how do you invoice it? You want to know how you invoice the carrier. Well, I recommend, most people don't like PayPal. PayPal hasn't done me wrong. PayPal or Square. Or you can invoice through your QuickBooks Online software if you have it, right? Or anything like that. So the invoicing is, let's open up a PayPal. After the carrier delivers, okay, and they turn in their proof of delivery, right? Their POD. So SumUp, AJ said SumUp is a good form of payment also, SumUp. But after the carrier delivers and turns in their proof of delivery, which is the POD, which initially started off at the shipper as a BOL, bill of lading. Bill of lading is the title to the goods. Once a carrier gets a bill of lading at a shipping location, they have title to those goods that is in their trailer that they are transporting. You guys follow that? Title to the goods. Now, when they take it from the shipper, transport it safely and securely to the receiver for delivery, The receiver takes possession of the shipment because they've accepted it. They sign their portion of the BOL, the bill of lading, completing the process. Now the BOL is a POD, proof of delivery, because the carrier has the document and their trailer is empty, and the receiver has removed them from responsibility of that load by accepting it. The word for that is called indemnification. They have indemnified them from responsibility because the receiver now, who is the client of the shipper, has taken possession of the freight. So now the carrier has a BOL, a bill paperwork. They have the receipt. This is what they will invoice or include in invoicing to one of those three parties who they got the load from. The shipper directly, the broker, or they may invoice their factoring company if they have a factoring company. Okay, let's say it's a broker. So they're going to send the invoice to the broker to get paid. Once the broker pays them, you can invoice them once they get to the receiver to deliver and get the as a dispatcher and get the POD because their trailer is empty and they have the paperwork. So you can send your invoice to them at that point. Okay, and you would send it to the email on file between you and that carrier. Okay, so you would go into your invoicing account. I'm going to click invoicing in PayPal. Okay, and I'm going to create an invoice. Now remember, whatever invoicing software you have, it has to be set up with your business on your business side. You don't invoice your carrier with a personal PayPal account. You invoice them or a personal Square account. You invoice them with a business PayPal or Square or QuickBooks or SumUp or whichever invoicing software you're using. You need to have the software integrated or connected to your business account, right? So when you first formed your company and got your business up and running and your articles of organization or whatever documents you took to the bank to open up a business account, that is the same account you will link to your invoicing software, Square, PayPal, whatever it is. So now when you create an invoice, you will create an invoice and you're going to bill a single customer or multiple customers. In this case, it's going to be one customer, that one carrier. You're going to send it to their email. I'm going to put my email in as an example. Just put my personal email because it could be the carrier's personal email. Let's say I'm the driver. And you're going to say, okay, the invoice amount, let's say they moved a $6,000, a $5,000 load and you charged 8%. So how much is due to you? How much is owed to you by the carrier? What is 8% of $5,000? $400. Great. I was waiting for someone to type it in the chat. 400. So you would put, so the item name is saying, you can say invoice for, and you can put the load number to reference the load. If you reference the load number that's coming on the rate confirmation, you have a copy of it. Your carrier has a copy of it. So you'll say load number ABC 123 or 123. Okay. Quantity is one invoice because you moved one load. Price 400. That's what to do. Tax or not tax. I'm going to put no tax on this. No tax. You can put tax according to your state or not. It's your choice. And then description. You can put a description to make it more clear what the load is as a reminder to the carrier. Sometimes when it comes to paying dispatchers, carriers have selective amnesia. Okay. So you want to remind them, load moved from Norfolk to ATL for dry van on, let's say, 9/18 last week, 9/18/2023, right? As a reminder or whatever, very descriptive, right? And let's remove the second one and this third one. And then down here, you would just put the message to the customer, the carrier, thank you for using, we'll say, Transit Aisle Logistics. I can spell logistics. services, right? Period. Looking forward to the next load or whatever, right? And then all sales are finals, no refund. You can put terms and conditions, whatever you want them to be. And then you can add a reference number here. Load number, what was it? ABC 123 extra. And then more options. You can upload files. You can upload copies of, you don't have to upload copies of your dispatch agreement between you and that carrier. They know they're under an agreement with you, but you can upload copies of the rate con to kind of bring home the point that you were the one on this load helping them. Any supporting documents you think you want to upload, this is where you upload it at, okay? And then put a memo to yourself. Call every other day to check on my funds, whatever. Check on my guap, whatever you want to call it, right? And then make sure this guy pays me because he drinks a lot or whatever, right? So, and then you go back up here, you can put some extra stuff here. It automatically generates in the system an invoice number for you. Every time you create a new invoice, it does it by default. It generates an invoice number for you. Invoice date today, it automatically generates the date based off of the day you logged into the software, okay? Now, when do you want them to pay you? Right here, due on receipt, upon receipt, or no due date, a specific date, 10 days, 15 days, whatever you decide, right? You can put that in there. I usually leave it at the default of upon receipt, okay? Leave that there. And then add the other, you didn't have no tax or anything. This is extra stuff. Allow partial payment. No, you want all your money. Allow a tip. They can tip if they want to, but most carriers ain't gonna tip you unless you do great service. You can put add a tip. Allow them to tip. So when it gets to them, they'll do it, right? So, and then you just hit send, okay? So now I'm gonna log into the other email that they went to, right? The carrier logs into it, and then they want to pay, right? So let me check. And see if I even received it. I don't think I received it yet, which is fine. So it went to, there it is. It's an invoice in there. So I will go out of this email. And this is the last thing, guys, because we're after our time, but that's fine. You guys don't mind me showing you this process, right? So you can actually see, you're going to see what the carrier is going to see now on the other side before they decide to pay it, right? So let me log into, let me get a passcode, because I got 020-725, 020-725, and show you what the carrier is going to see on their side. So they get an email from Exodus, because that's the invoice, 469, whatever, right? So Exodus Logistics Learning Center sent you an invoice due upon receipt and coming from the Exodus email or the business email attached to your account. It could have been, I just put Transit Isle Logistics, even though I sent it from my, you get it, right? So, and then thank you for using Transit Isle Logistics services. Looking forward to the next load. Invoice number here. And then it says pay, view and pay. So the carrier is going to click it to view and pay it. And they're going to go through what they see on the carrier side. All the information, anything that was attached, the invoice number, invoice load for ABC 123, $400, load moved from Norfolk to Atlanta for a drive in on the 18th of September. Very detailed. Oh yeah, I remember doing that load. Yeah, for Francisco over at Transit Isle. Yeah. And then the seller note to the customer, thank you for using us services. Looking forward to the next load. All sales are final. The reference number and anything I would have attached would have been right down here for them to click and see as added support for the carrier to bring home the point that this is the dispatcher that I owe the money to. Then they click to pay, and here's where they can add a tip. They add the tip, either a percentage or a dollar value, and they put the tip in on top of the 400 because I checked that box to be able to add the tip, right? and they can download it as a PDF, the invoice as a PDF, save it for later. Then they can go pay. Here's the payment methods. They can select to pay by PayPal, Venmo. They can pay later in installments, or they can pay with a credit or debit card. Most of them will pay with a credit or debit card. They'll put in their information, hit submit, pay it, and then you will get an alert in your invoicing account, which you have sent the invoice to them under. In this case, it was PayPal. It'll say, hey, you got a payment, $400 or $400 plus whatever tip they put. That's it. That is how you invoice. And PayPal is good at tracking, good at analytics, and all types of things like that. So that's it, guys, on that. Any questions? Was that okay?
Hey, Charles, I have a question.
Yes.
A couple is not regarding to this. A couple weeks ago, I think about 2 weeks ago, the last set of Zoom calls you did, you had a young lady named Joy that came on here, and she said she didn't have time to do anything with carriers, and you basically gave her an option that she can kind of do a deal with other dispatchers. Would you be able to patch me through with her, because I'm here in Florida, and she said one of the carriers was located in Florida as well?
Okay, I would need to get her information, her email through my spreadsheet. Remember who she was, because I got several Joys. I don't know if it's Joy Adams, Joy Lewis. I got several Joys as far as students. So if you remember her last name or her information, send it to me. But otherwise, I have to go back and look for the video. I have no problem giving it to you. I just want to make sure I'm giving you the right person.
Okay.
All right. Sheila, Miss Richardson, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, Charles, on that invoice, when you put on there no taxes, now if we wanted to do it, because like in Texas here, you know, you do have to charge taxes where you gotta pay them. So
Correct.
Do we let that carrier know in advance that it would be our fee plus taxes?
You can tell them, or they'll see it when they get the invoice, and they'll just ask you about it. Why is this being taxed? Well,
what about on that agreement where we say 7% plus tax or something like that?
You can put it there as well, because
so that they know with their invoice. Okay.
And you can tell them as an explanation, hey, the reason why I'm taxing you because forming a business in my state, it is required to also do sales tax as part of being a business owner. Like in the Commonwealth of Virginia, our sales tax is 5.3%. So, and then whatever your state has, some of it's 6, some of it's 7, whatever it is, make sure you explain it to them. Or you can put you can put terms under the terms and conditions remember terms and conditions in the invoice when we were creating it, had terms and conditions. You can put it, you can explain it there. Here's the reason why we are doing taxes, because in the state of Texas, it says this, and you can put the link to the website for the state of Texas saying why they require businesses to charge tax to their customers. So they can click the link and go in there and read it to reinforce the reason why you are supposed to tax. Okay?
So do most carriers frown on if you charging them taxes?
Once they read that it's part of doing business, most carriers, unless they're crazy, most carriers will understand why. It's just part of doing, just like if you go to the grocery store, you're not going to get stuff tax-free. It's going to be taxed.
Right.
Everybody has, that's a commonly accepted thing these days of being taxed. You can't avoid death or taxes.
Right.
So,
So,
all right.
Thanks.
You're
welcome. Okay, guys, we have went over, but that's fine.
One more question. With the website, Wix website, so I have a website in place as well. I have my PDF files for the carrier, dispatch to carrier agreement forms. Okay. How do you create the document for them to fill out on the actual website versus printing out, filling out, and then have to upload it back if they don't have that?
And that's a great point. So, and that something I left off on Francisco's document. So I'm gonna bring his back up, because remember, we were designing this in Word, right? So let's go to a Word document, one of the Word documents. Let's share the screen. And can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we created all those documents for Francisco's transit aisle logistics in Word. Word is not what you're going to send the documents to the carrier in. You're going to send them to either in a PDF format attached to an email, or you will upload the PDF form into a e-signature type of document and make the fields that you want them to fill out, make those editable. They're called elements. Like, for example, DocuSign, if you upload a PDF into DocuSign, you can drag and drop a text element, a date element, a name element into the location of where you want them to click and to be able to fill in. Jot form is one that's free. There are other e-signature or electronic signature type of forms that you will send a link to the carrier either in an email or to their text it to their number, right? That is the difference there. But going from a Word document to a PDF is as simple as when you save the Word document, you will say save as, okay? And then in this screen here, I'm going to save it on my desktop. You choose a location where you want to save it. You could have created a folder and just called it all my carriers, right? And then subfolders for each of the name of the carriers you're dispatching for, or however you want to organize that on your computer. But the point here is changing it from a Word document to a PDF. You put the location and you go down here where it says file name and then where it says save as type. Right now it is a Word document, okay? You click that drop down arrow and you select the type you want to save it as. You select PDF, right? And then you hit save because now it's going to save it. It's going to change it to a PDF and save it in the location of where you just selected it, which is the desktop. So I'm going to hit save and boom, it's going to create a PDF, which is what it just did, okay? Because you never, ever, ever send a Word document to a carrier. Why? Because that document can be edited and things can be changed on there quite easily. Now, can they be changed in a PDF? Yes, they can, but it takes a little bit more finesse, if you will, right? But a Word document, you just click it, highlight it, change it, save it, right? And then you take the PDFs, and if you decide as a new dispatcher, you can use e-signature software like DocuSign, someone typed in there. Jot form is free. You can upload it into Jot form and again, make the fields that you want them to fill out editable, right? So all they got to do is click it and then type in there and then hit submit. It's going to come to you in your email as a completed DocuSign form, and that is your proof and your documentation for that carrier. Your dispatch agreement, your limited power of attorney, and your carrier profile. When they click in Jot form, DocuSign, PDF filler, PDF escape, whatever name of the e-signature type of software that you are using to upload the PDF into and to create those documents for them in, okay?
So any of those is listed on the Wix website as a in the edit process program as a plugin.
So right, so Wix Forms is a good one. But what I used a third-party partner with Wix called Epic Form Builder. That was the easiest one for me. I'll type it in the chat. Type it in the chat here.
Because I have the PDF files on my website in the contact page. I just wanted to kind of attach a plugin to that so they can have the option to fill it out on there and submit it through that versus printing it out and then filling it out.
Right. Right. So so whatever website you're using, Wix, GoDaddy, Bluehost, whoever, whatever plugins that's associated or partnered with those websites, the form, the type of plugin, and we're talking about online forms. So a form plugin for Wix has one built in internal. It's called Wix Forms. And then they have third-party ones that are partnered with them, one of which is called Epic Form Builder, which I just put in the chat. So if you're using Wix, then those are some of the options. If you're using GoDaddy or Bluehost or any other web hosting software, you just have to decide, or if they have any forms internal in their editor, or if they have third-party plugins that you can use. You just got to be able to call your webmaster who's hosting the site and see what they have to offer for you to be able to utilize. And if it's an added cost or if it's included in your particular type of payment plan or type of website that you have that you're paying for.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully that a lot of information today, huh? But it's useful. You guys need it, right? So, okay, guys. Let me share I didn't put the October calendar up yet because it's not October. That'll be tomorrow. But the next meeting, the Zoom training, will be, so it'll be here, it'll be clear, it'll be October, 2023 October, but it will be, let me look at the calendar here. I put it up on my desk also, but it will be the second week, which is, tomorrow is Sunday, that's October 1st. So the second week is the 8th through the 14th. So Sunday, October 8th will be at 11 a.m. That'll be the next Zoom. Okay, that Sunday, and then that Wednesday the 11th, and then that Saturday the 14th, and then the fourth week will be the 22nd, the 25th Wednesday, and the 28th Saturday. Okay, so I'll put that in the on the website, and LaDonna just put it up here. Okay, but the next one will be that Sunday, the 8th of October at 11 a.m. Okay, so the theme for the training, second and fourth week, and those days are always the same, and those times are always the same. The only thing that changes are the months, September, October, November, whatever, right? So second week, fourth week, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, right? Second week, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Fourth week of the month, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. The times are always the same. Sunday at 11, Wednesday at 6, Saturday at noon, second and fourth week. All Eastern Standard Time. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Virginia. So that should be easy to follow, right? And then it's always going to be under Dispatcher 101, the first option, live Zoom training calendar schedule, right? Same location. Everybody who's in this Zoom obviously has figured out how to use it, right? Because you wouldn't be in here if it, right? So you used it correctly. So, all right, guys, very good training. Thank you. Hopefully this information was very detailed. I may even put this video public as far as so the individuals on the YouTube channel can get some value from this as well, because there's not a lot of, I didn't put a lot of information that they shouldn't see on here. So it was general information, dispatcher packet and things like that. So, okay. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Hope you guys be safe. You guys can get a hold of me. Francisco, you started this, man. You asked us, let's see the mess you done started. You done started this. Our next, tell your friend, our next in-person training, because our first inaugural in-person week-long dispatch training was the 18th through the 22nd. Went very well. Our next one will be the week of the 16th of October for a dispatcher and freight brokers. We got some people signed up. So in Virginia, me in person in my conference room, I'm literally at the Exodus Logistics Learning Center in my office doing this Zoom, but the conference room is the next room over. It's like 1,900 square feet. So, all right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time that you give me to give back to you, okay? And any questions, just call me, email, we're good to go, okay? Good luck to you. Thank you, LaDonna, by the way. Everybody thank LaDonna. She's always here, and she's very helpful to me. I really appreciate her. All right, guys. Have a great weekend.
Have a great one.